Oftentimes, life's greatest challenges can fuel the next great business idea. And that can certainly be said of today's podcast guest, Amber Laign. Her partner, Good Morning America's Robin Roberts, very publicly shared her cancer diagnosis and recovery. And Amber was really looking for a holistic approach to aid in that recovery process. And little did she know that shortly thereafter, she would be facing her own breast cancer diagnosis. Well, in came plant juice oils. You're going to learn more about that on this episode. Our physical, mental, and emotional health is not just a want. It is a need for happy lives and prosperous businesses. Lift You Up is the podcast where we share inspiring health stories from business owners who are fulfilling their purpose to live their healthiest lives and helping you do the same. From former TV reporter to marketing entrepreneur and content creator, I care about sharing stories that matter and stories that connect us. I'm your host, Tamika Bickham, your health and wellness matchmaker. Well, today I am so excited to meet virtually and introduce all of you to Amber Laign, who is the CEO of Plant Juice Oils. And I know so much more. You have an incredible story that I can't wait to share. But first of all, it's nice to meet you.
Wonderful. It's so wonderful to meet you as well.
So I'm excited to learn more about plant juice oils, but I know that, and I want to definitely mention your business partner, Marcy Freed, as well. Did I get her last name right?
Yes, you did.
So before we dive into why both of you decided to start Plant Juice Oils, I want to understand a little bit more about your journey and your story. Has health and wellness always been a part of your path? Tell me more about you.
So I am a massage therapist, licensed massage therapist. So I have always been in the wellness world. My partner, Robin Roberts, when she was diagnosed with MDS and went through a life-saving bone marrow transplant, and she was sharing after she completed everything, she was left with like all of these symptoms. And so that's how this all started. That's how plant juice oils started. I was introduced to essential oils being a massage therapist. And then I brought them home and started playing with them and then realized, oh my goodness, these actually really work. Through it all, I developed my sleep patterns and sleep disorders through her treatment, through stress and whatnot. So when I was able to sleep with cedarwood or lavender, I couldn't believe it. So that's how it all started. I could get more into it, but yes.
Yeah, no, let's get a little, okay, so you're a massage therapist. Now, take me further back, though. How did your career journey, your path start?
My career journey or path? Well, it is a funny story. Let's see. So living in New York City, I think I became like a jack of all trades, right? So originally from California, I was a dancer and I moved to New York City. And before I moved to New York City, I got into a car accident. And that through my treatments way back when I was 18, I started receiving massage therapy and Pilates for my rehabilitation. That sparked I'm really interested in massage therapy. This is really incredible. It helped me tremendously through my recovery. So put that on a back burner, didn't touch it for a long time. When Robin was diagnosed the first time around with breast cancer, I was working in the garment center at the time. And it just life just became too real and the little things did not matter anymore. And to me, at the time, I worked in a wonderful showroom with my friend, Alana Berger and Stevens, and we specialized in Mother of the Bride wear, and we sold to like high-end boutique stores throughout the US. And our line that we were selling was Marissa Bertelli. It was Thai. Everything was hand dyed from Thailand. Through the pressures of getting delivery on, for a Mother of the Bride, it's a lot, and it's a major moment for these women. And if you don't meet the delivery, they don't have their Mother of the Bride. They don't have their outfit to wear for the most important day of their daughter's lives, right? it was just too much for me. And so Robin's going through treatment. We always joke about like she had like one little sprig of hair on her head. And I go to meet her for dinner that night. And I just had this look on my face. And she's like, what? I'm like, I quit my job. She's like, wait, what? I'm like, I want to go to school for massage therapy. And so I don't know, it was just like this inner calling. And she's like, okay. So that's what I did. That's how I got into massage therapy. And I felt like I was home. Everything came so natural to me. I loved it. I went through school. I built a beautiful clientele with my clients. And I specialized in chronic pain. And that's how that happened. But then when Robin got diagnosed again and life spun around again, I really just weighed everything out. And I was just like, yeah, I cannot continue to do both. That's when I was introduced to essential oils. And then that's
And
where it just kind
when you say do both, what do you mean do both?
I do both of like caring for Robin,
Yeah.
treating my clients. Like I had to Robin was number one. I mean, I am naturally a caregiver, so it just all worked. It all fell into place. And then, when Robin was able to, when she got past her treatment and was able to get past the bone marrow transplant, I did start back with my clients again, but it just through pandemic, everything just kind of worked its way out naturally, if you say. Yeah.
And the reason I wanted to ask that is just because I think if you haven't been in the position of having a loved one, a partner, a family member, someone who's close to you, going through cancer treatment, etc., you don't always realize, it's not just that person, it's their circle and
It's
the people who love them that are also impacted.
Yes, it is a collective of people. And if you happen to go through a challenging health crisis or a challenging time in your life, and you are blessed enough to have family and friends, or, friends who are family, however you want to, describe your circle, it does involve everybody.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And really the reason that I started this podcast is because if we don't have health, what do we have? We must
Yes.
we have to have our health to have our happiness, whether, achieve our goals, build our businesses. So I love that you made that a priority. And I think oftentimes too, and what I've learned so much from guests being on this show is that our health challenges and things that have really that we faced along the way often inspire that next chapter in our lives. And it sounds like that's what happened to you.
Exactly. It's like you're so in it, and
Yeah.
for me at least, I was laser focused. I knew what I had to do. Like I said, it came naturally to me to be a caregiver. But you're right. You never know what transpires out of it, what it leads to. We often say, oh my goodness, why me? How did this happen to my loved one? What is going on? But if you trust in the process and trust in the journey, and it can be so difficult when you're going through it, everything will be okay. And you're always being guided. Like my business partner, Marcy, and I always say, and it's also like something I say too, we are always being guided. You may not know it at the moment, but you'll be able to look back and understand why and how this all transpired.
Like at what point, tell me where everything kind of clicked. Tell me where plant juice oils really started, how you met Marcy. Like just tell me how that all came together.
This is a trip. Okay, so the joke in New York City is get yourself a dog and you will meet somebody, right? Like that is like the known fact in New York City.
Oh,
However, I did not know that getting a dog would then introduce me and get me a business partner. Like I said, Robin completed her treatment and her wonderful team, and she was through her bone marrow transplant, but it left her with, some stomach issues, just like some symptoms that we wanted to address naturally. And
right.
I was introduced to essential oils. And before I was even going to work with them with Robin, I wanted to try them on my own. And throughout her treatment, I developed like a sleeping disorder, and I was really heavily addicted to sleep meds. And it was a problem. And so when I got these oils, like I said, I did cedarwood and lavender, and I diffused them, and I was just like, oh, they worked because you know what? I'm really exhausted. So I did it a second time. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I think these like really do work. So also in New York City
Meaning
is the
that
culture of
diffusing them
diffusing, like
allowed
knocked
you to
me
sleep.
out
Really?
without my sleep meds. Yes. And I'm talking I'm not talking Ambien. I was on something a lot heavier, and it was, you don't realize how much you become addicted to something. It just
Mm.
becomes your everyday. So yes, I was able to sleep. So I was like, oh my goodness. So also in New York City, we have dog runs, which are dog parks, and you become on a very you get used to a schedule. So I was the 9:30 slot, and you see the same faces, you see the same people, and I was so excited about my newfound love of this, like, ah. So I go down to the dog run, and I shared my story with like the women of the dog run, and Marcy, we joke, like all of a sudden her ears perk up, and she inches closer, and she was just so curious. She wanted to know more. And at the time, her daughter, she has two twin daughters, and her daughter was going through her own health journey. And so she was looking for something holistic to help her daughter with her anxiety and whatnot. So we became friends. I mean, I had seen Marcy before, but I never talked to her,
Yeah.
and we just became friends, and we started sharing our stories, and we started like making recipes for friends. And our friends, all of them were sleep deprived, sweaty, and anxious. And then we thought to ourselves, wait a second, I think we're like onto something here. And they kept asking for more product and repeat product and product they could give to friends. And that's when we had our aha moment, and we called it plant juice oils, which means life source of the plant. And that's how we started. 5 years ago, when menopause was not being discussed,
Mm-hmm.
let alone CBD. This was also before, we're CBD and essential oils, and this was before the Farm Bill passed. So nobody really knew what CBD was. Our friends and family looked at us like we were crazy, like we had six heads. Like, what are you girls talking about? We're like, no, this is amazing. And so, yeah, plant juice oils started um, helping women through menopause before it was a buzzword, which is weird to think about right now.
So it just sounds like
Yeah.
it started through word of mouth, you telling people about what you experienced the positive impacts to be, people telling their
Mm-hmm.
friends, and so and so. So you started selling that way. You started the
Mm-hmm.
business. Now, five
Mm-hmm.
years later, where are you now?
5 years later, so let's back it up a couple of years,
Yeah.
which was the pandemic.
Yeah.
We did a massive pivot of, like, everyone did, and we created face mask sprays for inside of the face mask without CBD. So they were essential oil face mask sprays, and it was like lightning in a bottle. And so that was 2 years of going from zero to 1,000. Like, nobody, our community, which has been with us from the beginning, has been incredibly loyal, and we love our women. And thank goodness, I mean, they trust us, which is always, when you're not known, for anybody to trust you, and then they trust you, and then pass along information to friends and family. Um,
Yeah.
it's just wonderful. But during pandemic, with these face mask sprays, we ended up in O Magazine, and we went from, like I said, zero to 1,000. And all of a sudden, with supply, chain issues, I have 10,000 units of these mask sprays in our garage trying to ship during the pandemic. We exploded.
Oh my
And then all of a
goodness.
sudden, plant juice is now, people are talking, and people are knowing who the brand is and what the brand is. So we spent 2 years in this crazy, wild, phenomenal lightning in a bottle of a moment. So
Mm.
now, coming out of it, it's like we're almost, we feel like we're having a rebirth, and reintroducing ourselves because we have this whole new audience. And so going back to how we started and where we started with menopause, it feels great to be
Mm.
where we are right now with it.
Because you started really with, these plant juice oils helping women deal with menopause.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then pandemic happens. Then it's really oils that they can spray on the
In
inside
their
of their
face mask.
mask. And
Like
that
that
was
took over
helping.
everything.
Okay. And that was helping with like what effects would people see by spraying it on their mask?
Well, we created two scents,
Okay.
Relax, which was lavender and bergamot, to help women, to help anybody who was, because the face masks at the time, it was a whole new thing. And, with the whole
Right.
pandemic, everyone was anxious. I mean, it was a
Mm.
lot to take in. So we figured, why not have aromatherapy for the mask? And
Mm.
so we created Relax, which was lavender and bergamot. Just you spray it inside your face mask, you put it on, you breathe it in, and it was just to help relax you while you're wearing your mask. And then we also had another scent called Uplift, which was peppermint and orange. And this was also, like face mask fatigue was real, and you spray this one inside your face mask and it just uplifted you, it woke you up, it just, so we created aromatherapy for inside the mask. It
Mm.
was amazing.
That was amazing. I mean, how did business
Yeah.
grow and change in those couple of years?
It's like I said, it was lightning in a bottle. We went from 0 to 1,000 overnight, and it allowed us to get in front of an audience which we were not in front of before. It allowed us to rebrand plant juice oils. Um, it did a lot of good for us, and it also, like, if you're able to ship 10,000 units out of your garage during a pandemic, which I called my iceberg because it was just pallets of product. And we were put to the test and we did it. And we worked together. We did like most everybody did and pivoted. And you just kind of like realize you're a lot stronger than what you may give yourself credit
Mm.
for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I guess there's a pivot now since the
Yes.
pandemic,
Yeah.
well, everyone says it's over, not necessarily over, but COVID's still around, but things have shifted again. So
Yeah.
back to focusing on women with, going through menopause with plant juice oils. Is that right?
Yes. Correct. Yes.
So how does this help them?
So 45% of women going through
Mm-hmm.
menopause choose HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy.
Hmm.
And plant juice oils is here to support the other 55% that choose an alternative route. So we have created products to help address specific symptoms, whether it be hot flashes, sleep, um, stress, muscle and joint pain, brain fog. The list goes on and on and on, unfortunately. And our products are just a really direct approach to addressing that or supporting that symptom. Like, we are not here to cure menopause. We simply say we're here to help our women through the good, the bad, and the sweaty naturally.
Mm. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And
Yes.
that's so
Yeah.
needed. And like you said, it's not something that people, yes, especially a couple of years ago, were talking about, but still, I don't
Yes.
think are talking a lot about.
It's, I mean, maybe we hear it more because we're in the
Yeah.
space, but I
Mm-hmm.
really feel there's, our mother's menopause, when they went through it, it was hush hush. They were not really talk, they didn't talk about it. Um, if they went to their doctors, they were told that they were crazy. They're imagining things. It's not real. And I feel with our generation, we're ready to talk about it. And also having public figures like Naomi Watts with her I Am Stripes, and Courtney Cox talking about it, like all of these women that are in the public eye are like, wait a second, no, 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 no,
Mm-hmm.
no. We're here to talk about it. We want to support one another, and we're also here to help the younger generation because our mothers suffered in silence, and we're
Mm-hmm.
also living a lot longer too. So generations prior to our mothers' generations, they weren't really living long enough to enter this beautiful natural phase or
Mm-hmm.
stage in their lives. Yeah. So,
So I do want to ask the question because
mhm.
when it comes to oils, there
Yes.
are a lot who push back against those and
Hmm.
say, hey, there's no medical science, there's no research, nothing that
Hmm.
is medically tested and proven with the benefits or
Yes.
effects of them. So what do you say to people who say
Yes.
that?
Well, that is true that there are not a lot of studies with essential oils because they're not approved by the FDA. They have been used for thousands of years. Um, and so I understand where people may be like, "Ooh, this is a little woo-woo for me." But given through trial and tribulation and just product testing ourselves and with our customers, they do work, and hopefully we will get to the point where essential oils will be studied and will be able to given the medical backup proof that people are looking for. And I understand how it could be like, what are you girls really talking about,
Mm-hmm.
because they do unfortunately get a bad rap, essential oils, but they do work. And we look forward to the day that studies will be able to be funded to prove exactly what we have found.
I know your company is plant juice oils. Are there
Mhm.
different elements or things that you're adding to them for your product?
We we work with a chemist, so there are there are hundreds of essential oils, and each plant has different properties, and each oil has a different property and addresses different different things throughout the body. So when we put our oils together, so for instance, we'll say, okay, you know what, we're developing something for sleep. We know what essential oils help with sleep, and it's just a beautiful balance where you start to layer. And so in our sleep roller, for instance, there's probably 7 oils, and they range from cedarwood, lavender, vetiver, and Roman chamomile. And so just knowing the different properties of the oils, knowing what you're trying to address, then you start placing them together. It may smell good, it may not, like valerian root, for instance, is a phenomenal oil to help knock you out, but it literally smells like death. And, and we tried everything to like cover up that smell and layer
Yeah.
on. And we're just like, oh my goodness, we cannot have this. But it's a beautiful oil and it will do the trick. So then, you take oils out, and then with our chemist, he really puts the layering balance and the tones together. So it is a beautiful scent that really is powerful. And then along with essential oils, we add broad spectrum CBD. Broad spectrum meaning there is zero THC present. So,
Got it.
and so like
Broad spectrum.
we like to say, we love peanut butter and chocolate. So it's like a peanut butter cup.
Mm-hmm.
You put the peanut butter together, you put the chocolate together. They're great on their own if you like them, but you put them together and it's like, woo.
Wonderful. All right. So, where are you now? From what I was reading and what you sent over, you are now experiencing your own health journey.
Yes. So earlier, well, late last year, um, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So I did a full circle. I went from caregiver to patient. And I have to say, I'm a better caregiver than I am patient.
Mm.
But I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I started treatment in February, and I completed my radiation at the end of July. And right now, I am doing well. I've been thrusted into medical menopause. Yay! But I'm
Mm.
doing well, and things are moving along. And I'm very, very fortunate to have caught it early.
I'm so
Yeah.
glad to hear that you're doing well, and it's incredible to hear these stories. I was just partnering with a healthcare facility here in South Florida for breast cancer awareness month, and just hearing all of the survivor stories was so inspiring to me. But also just, hey, what more can we do with 1 in 8 women
Hmm.
being diagnosed with breast cancer? Um,
Hmm.
it can be kind of a hard pill to swallow, for lack of a better term, to know
Hmm.
that so
Hmm.
many of us will be diagnosed.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's I found it really when I was diagnosed, I had two other friends that were diagnosed 2 weeks behind me.
Wow.
And then recently another friend. And then also just 2 days ago hearing a friend's friend like reaching out. And it just had me like, wow, like that just it just seems like a lot, you know?
It seems like a lot.
It is a lot. And I had always, like with Robin's diagnosis back with her first round of breast cancer and then her MDS, it just, it seemed like that was going to be it, you know? But it does, it just really shocked me. One, I was in shock that it happened to me as well, but it just really reminds you that yes, 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed. Um, but when it starts happening around you at a fast rate, it just makes you wonder, like, what is going on?
Mm.
I do know a lot of women, myself included, put off getting tested during the pandemic, and coming up
Right.
out of it, here we are. We're getting caught up with our appointments and everything. So that could be it
Right.
as well. I don't. Yeah.
That is true. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned is like, hey, there's no stigma, there's no shame in it. Talk about it,
Mm-mm,
because
mm-mm.
ultimately cancer doesn't discriminate, and
Nope.
early prevention is all that we can really do, right? Like, just have our appointments, talk to our doctors, be our own self advocates. And I just
Yes.
want to say that because that's important.
It's really important. And as cliche as it does sound, early detection is key.
Yeah.
And especially now, and I can say this with certainty, if you had listened to that inner voice inside you, it does not lie. If you feel like you did feel something and you go and you do all the proper steps and it comes back negative, but you have that burning something is off, like follow through, be your own advocate because no one will know your body better than you do. And
Mm-hmm.
it's really, really, really important.
Absolutely. So, how do you feel? Because this show is all about health and happiness, health and wellness, and how that inspires us to help others live their healthier and happier lives. Um, so, where are you with your relationship with just health in general now? How do you feel about health?
Health in general, I feel so leading up to my diagnosis, I was working out 5 days, 6 days a week. I'm part of a wonderful group called Lifted. Um,
I love that.
so I had, what's that?
I
Oh,
love
Lifted?
that.
Yes, yes.
Because the
So we
podcast is
are,
called Lift You Up.
yes. So we're Lifted. It's Holly Rillinger is an amazing woman trainer, and we really blossomed throughout the pandemic, and we became each other's life source and just our lifelines to each other. And it's really important. And wellness, I think we have to, there's so much that encompasses it, right? So mental health, your
Mm,
physical health, um, really tapping into what brings you joy. I think wellness as a whole, there's so many facets to it, right? So I think it's really important not to overwhelm like if you're just starting out and you really want to, okay, this is the year I'm going to take care of myself. Just start small and don't overwhelm yourself to try to do everything, right?
right.
Do one thing and then go on to the next. So if you want to start as we get older as women, is very important to start lifting weights. Start, find a group, work out. Journaling is very helpful as well. Meditation, I'm a huge, Marcy and I are both really big into meditating. We're big into journaling as well. Um, And I think it's really important to surround yourself with people that really bring you joy. And
Mm.
I think that's part of it as well. We get so caught up, and now we're so isolated if we're still working from home, that you get into this little tiny bubble and you tend to close yourself off. But you have to, the people that know you well, right? Your long-term friendships. We talk about this, how important friendships are that have been in your life for a long time. Like, make time for these people and spend time with them, because it helps change the vibration within your body. And if the vibration changes, everything else starts to change on a cellular level. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I always like to ask for one health tip, something actionable that the audience can put into practice in their lives right away. So, what's one thing for you that is important for you to do each and every day to show up as your best self?
quiet time, whether it be meditation or quiet time, it is so important. And it could be as simple as sitting outside and listening to the sounds around you, or it could be in a little, area in your home, in your apartment, wherever it is, just being able to sit, reflect, meditate, quiet. I think it's
I love
super
that.
important. Yes.
I do love that. I love a lot of quiet time, actually.
It's like, it's a lot. We take it for granted. So you're in Florida, so you drive a lot, right?
Yes. Yes.
Quiet time. Do you have quiet time? So when I drive, being out here in Connecticut, I like to be in the car quiet. And it's a great time for my mind to, because when you have quiet, you create space. When you have space, creativity, ideas, everything starts to flow.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. I love that tip. Um, Amber, I
Yes.
appreciate you so much for being so open about your own journey, professional, health, personal.
Thank
That's
you.
what I love most is just sharing stories, because the more we share, the more we understand and are able to connect with others. Um, and
Yes.
also for sharing some of the story about you and your partner, Robin Roberts, big fan. And I know she's been very open about her health journey as well. So,
Yes.
so happy both of you are doing well, and that you have
Thank
also
you.
um, built this business with plant
Yes.
juice oils. So tell
Thank
everyone
you.
how they can connect with you, learn more about you and the business, find you on social, all the things. So we'll put the links below.
Wonderful. So Plant Juice Oils, you could find us on Instagram and Facebook, Plant Juice Oils, or at Plant Juice Oils. We have a phenomenal Facebook group called Menopause and Mocktails. You can find us there. Our website is plantjuiceoils.com. And we have a phenomenal community of women, and it just keeps growing. And Marcy and I really pride ourselves in growing this community, supporting one another. We call them our plant juice peeps, and they become friends and they connect with one another. And so it's just a really wonderful place to share and open up and know that you're not alone going through peri and menopause. And we would love to have you and come join the community.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. We'll make sure to link to all that below so everyone can find it nice and easily. Before we go, is there anything else that you wanted to add?
No, this was wonderful. I really enjoyed this.
Well, thank you so much, Amber.
Thank you so much, Tamika. I loved it. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed learning more about Amber's personal journey, her health journey, and also her journey to creating this business. It's been so fun sharing this episode and kicking off Women's History Month, celebrating women this month and also all 12 months of the year. So make sure you go below, learn more about her, and connect with her. All of that information is below in the show notes. And hey, if you haven't also connected with me, I don't know why yet, because I'd love to stay connected with you. You'll find all of my information below, but I'd especially love to see you on LinkedIn, Instagram, and also hit subscribe on YouTube and turn on those notifications. You know why? Because we come back with new episodes every other week, and I'd hate for you to miss out. So until I see you back in 2 weeks, because I know I'll see you then, stay happy, stay healthy.